So this is a corner of my classroom, and I have book baskets over here. Let me turn it just a little bit. Maybe you can, yeah, okay, there we go. So I have this blue shelf, right? And on the shelf sit these baskets. And so I have them by genre, basically. So let me just tilt that a little bit. Hey. So for example, I have all of my nursery rhyme books in one tub, box, basket, whatever you have, right? And so I have a tub of nursery rhyme books. And what I do, and I've been doing this for years and years, before some of you were around, I put a sticker on the bottom right-hand corner of each book. Okay, so I just choose randomly. It doesn't have to be a certain color for a certain tub or anything like that. And I chose the yellow sticker. These are the round stickers that you get at the office supply store that they use to label file folders and things. They come in primary colors. Sometimes you can get them in neon, all different kinds. So I put it in the bottom right-hand corner. Some people like to put it in the top, but I'll tell you the reason why I like the bottom right-hand corner. Books in your preschool or kindergarten classroom take a beating, okay? These books are handled daily by many, many children, and they take a beating, and they don't last forever. And books will deteriorate the most quickly around the bottom edge here. That's where they get the most wear and tear. And as a former librarian, it's also where I'm used to putting identifying marks on books. But this will help keep the spine intact, or the edge of your book that's going to get the most wear as it goes in and out. Now we could, this is another corner, but it's the corner that opens. So yeah, this is the part here that gets the most wear and tear, and that's why I put it at the bottom corner. Some teachers like to put it at the top because that is closer to the top where the kids can see it. The only time they're going to need to see the sticker is when they're putting it away. So I put it on the bottom so that they can match it to the label. Let me get the label out for you here. So each basket has a label on it. I need two hands to get it out. And these are my printable book basket labels. Tom will look for those in the store and drop a link for you below. And I put the yellow sticker right there at the top of the label, and then the kids can do this. Do you see? They can match the bottom of the book to the label on the basket. So that's the reason I put them in the bottom corner. It's easier for the children to match. If I put it at the top, not so much. So these, I just printed them out and laminated them, because we laminate everything. And then on the end of the tub, let me take some books out of this one because it's really heavy, because I have a lot of I collect nursery rhyme books. So on the front of each tub that I have in my classroom library, I have this little, you see these here? These are the clear labels from the Target Dollar Spot. They're adhesive on the back, and they're pockets. They're clear label pockets. You can use them on anything, tubs, baskets, whatever you have. And my book basket labels, they fit right in there. This is actually attached to a piece of cardstock as well to make it extra sturdy. But yeah, so I put the sticker on there, and then I laminate it, because if you don't laminate over the top, they'll pick the stickers off. Because stickers, even though they're kind of boring, they don't care. They're stickers. They like them. And then around the bottom of this right here, I put packing tape, and that just helps reinforce that weak part of the book there. So yeah, so I have a book basket, a lot of book baskets in my classroom library. So some of the different, and it's going to depend on what books you have or access to books you have. But I like to have several books available. Well, let's face it, I like to have many books available for each child, because my personal opinion, and I don't have to follow Eckers, and I have many opinions about Eckers, we won't get into that, but my personal opinion is that the more books, the better, because the more choices children have, the more interested they will be. And they all have favorites, you know what I mean? And the books that I read aloud need to go into the classroom library because those books are automatically their favorite. I like to have multiple copies of the most popular books, multiple copies of Pete the Cat and the Pigeon books and No David and the Llama Llama books, all of their favorites. I want to have multiple copies because anytime a child wants to read a book, I want to support that. And I don't want them fighting over books. Now, there are many opportunities during the day for them to problem solve. And so I'm not going to try and take a problem solving opportunity away. But I feel like when it comes to motivation to read, I weigh my pros and cons. And I feel like this is a time when I just want them to have as many choices as they can have so that they can become motivated readers. So yeah. So Donna has a good question. I get this question all the time. How do you keep the books from getting torn up? And that's a great question. So Tom, in the store, we have How to Care for Books. It is a complete packet that has little printable booklets and posters and cards that will teach your children how, well, you have to teach them, but it will help you teach your children how to care for books. Children don't just come out, they don't just pop out being born knowing how to handle books, especially if they don't come from homes where they have a lot of books readily available in the home, right? And if they haven't seen people reading or listened to people reading, they don't really know the function of books. So just like we teach them how to wash their hands and how to be independent in the bathroom, we teach them how to handle books. If you don't explicitly teach them continually throughout the year, then they will tear up your books. So I can tell you that I have had hundreds of books in my classroom library for many, many years. I weed them out every year or so because some of them just get well loved, not because they were mistreated, but because they're just so popular, like copies of The Very Hungry Caterpillar and other things like that. And I replace them occasionally. But if you take the time and you invest the time up front to teach your children how to care for books explicitly, then they won't tear them up. So, and also we don't use books, in ways that would promote that. So everything that I do in the classroom, from a read aloud to just everything, is all about books and loving books and respecting books and valuing books. And so I just don't have those problems. I really never have it. Very rarely has a page in a book in my classroom ever been torn because I teach them from day one. And the way that you do that, and Tom has a link to the classroom library page at Pre-K Pages that's been around forever and ever. And it's just how I've always taught children to look at books and how to care for books and how to handle books. And it's filled with all of this information. If you're the kind of person who likes to digest information by reading it or pinning it, then you're going to want to go to that page because I lay it all out for you, but I'll also do it in the video format tonight for those of you that are here. But I introduce the books to the children and I say, oh, this is, I like to introduce it to them and show them my passion for reading and how much I love it and personal stories. And I'll say, this is the Itsy Bitsy Spider. This is one of my very favorites. And of course, we probably sang the song. Even on the first day of school, I sing Itsy Bitsy Spider. And I'll say something like, I remember singing this when I was in preschool like you. And they go, oh, you were in preschool? And just showing your love and appreciation for books and how much you enjoy them is conveyed to them. They love and respect you, or they should love and respect you. And that love and respect, of course, has to be earned, but we're constantly modeling for them how to care for books. So then obviously we've already sang the song, and I'll model, I'm going to turn the page, open it. I'm going to read the words on the page. I'm constantly showing them and talking through using the book. I'm going to turn the page gently by the corner because this is one of my favorites and I don't want to hurt it. And well, this particular book here maybe wasn't a good choice because it has really thick, like indestructible pages. It's not a board book, but it's like a really durable book. And another trick is in the beginning of the year, especially when you're teaching them how to care for books, like I don't just say like there's the classroom library, go for it, no. We start with one bin of books, one basket, like the one I just showed you. I would probably put just enough books for each child, and they would be lots of duplicates of the books, like Chicka Chicka Boom Boom. Like I usually read that on the first day, and then No David. Like the books that I read the first week of school, or that I am reading during the first week of school, Brown Bear, things like that, I will fill the basket with that, because for my kiddos who don't have prior knowledge or any experience with books, I want to be sure that they have at least have access to their prior knowledge with the books I've read to them. So I'll fill it with those popular books, and then we just sit around the basket and I say, now would you like to read this story? Or one of the stories that I've read to them already? Well, let's take turns and let's practice how we're going to look at the book. And I probably modeled my How to Care for Books and read it aloud, little booklet that I have in that packet. Now let's try it. You try it. Can you pick up a book? Can you put it in your lap? Can you show me how you open it? What do you do when you're done? And I'll start introducing this strategy right away. Let's look for the sticker and let's put it back in the box with the sticker. And we do it in a circle, and they each get a turn to take a book out, look at it, and put it back. And we all cheer and clap for them. And then I'll say, well, maybe tomorrow, or whatever next, you'll get to look at some more books if you continue showing me that you can treat books the way they should be treated. So yeah, I just continually teach and model for them, and then gradually over the course of a couple of weeks, I'll say, oh, you've been doing such a great job caring for your books and turning the pages and remembering how to put them away. Now, I think you might be ready to go to the library center. So today, during center time, you can go over there and you can practice looking at books and putting them back, looking at the sticker. Now, it doesn't look perfect every single day, but it does work. And this strategy with the stickers works really well I've used it with 4-year-olds forever and a day. It works really well with 4-year-olds. Definitely works with 5-year-olds. Not so sure about 3s. I have had 3-year-olds that have used it successfully, but those were kids who had a lot of prior knowledge. So let me just check in with the comments here. Hey, Jen. Hey, Wanda. Hey, Marcy. Awesome. Yes, it is difficult to find books in English in other countries. I used to teach and live and teach in Seoul, South Korea. And I brought 5 books with me, and I used those books all the time. I could not find the most popular early childhood titles in South Korea at the time, and it is very expensive. Those books that I was able to find, just a few for my older students. I didn't teach just preschool, but I taught all grade levels over there, and they were very expensive. So I totally get that. Okay, what else was I going to show you? In the beginning of the year, if you're worried, you can have board books like this. Sometimes it depends on the class, right? Maybe you have a class that's a little more immature this year. Maybe you want to start out with the board books. There's nothing wrong with that. My kids have never had an issue with it before. They've never said anything. Now, if your kids do, then you might want to reconsider, but I have never had a child complain about a board book, and that's usually because my students don't have a lot of prior knowledge with books, so they don't really have this thing ingrained in their mind that they're for babies, because they haven't experienced them before. But I've had this book probably 15 years. This has been in the classroom with children. It's a board book. They last really well. We talk about things like eating books. I've definitely had kids who are very mouthy and they put things in their mouths. We talk about what we can and can't put in our mouths. We talk about how to hold a book. Whoops. Hold on. I think you're going to fall down. Hold on a second. Yeah. I don't know why my thing just decided to tilt over. We've talked about what we should do with the book. Should we throw it into the bin or should we place it in the bin? We have to show these books are important to us. If we don't take care of them, what will happen to them? Well, then they'll fall apart and we won't have them anymore. And what will we put in our classroom library? I don't know. Oh, it would be empty. If we didn't take care of the books and they all got ruined and ripped and torn, well, then we wouldn't have any books in our classroom library. And what would we do? What would we do during center time? I don't know. You know, they're just like horrified that that would happen. So I've had books used as skateboards, as sleds. So yeah. So also at Pre-K Pages, somebody's asking about book recommendations, and that's a great question, Kareen. At Pre-K Pages, Tom, if you go to pre-kpages.com/category/book-lists, we have more than 50 book lists of my favorite books for many different topics and genres that you can look at. And these are mostly books that you would read aloud or you would put in your classroom library. But yeah, all of my favorites are listed there. When it comes to nursery rhymes, it's a little more difficult because nursery rhymes, you kind of have to search for ones because a lot of times they're in like compilations, you know, they're in tomes or volumes or whatever, and you just want a book with one rhyme because kids have a hard time searching through those kind of books. So whenever I see them, I pick them up. This one is from years ago from Dollar General. They used to carry these for several years, and I stocked up. I bought like 4 copies of each nursery rhyme that they had. You'll find them every now and again in different places, usually discount bookstores. That's a great place to get them. And Scholastic had the one I was just showing you a few minutes ago, came from Scholastic, had a set of nursery rhymes like a year or two ago, and I bought 2 sets of these, and these are super durable. And they even have this little reinforced spine thing with these really cool pages. I don't know if they still have them or not, but anywhere you can find them, you know, and that you don't have to break the bank. Of course, your library, your public library is a great place to get books, but anytime that I see that there's a need, if the children are starting to throw the books into the baskets or they're not sorted by the sticker or anything like that, then I'm going to stop and reteach. I'm going to revisit that how to handle and care for books scenario that I have in that packet for you. And I'm going to revisit those strategies with the children. I'm going to reteach because that's what teachers do. We notice what the children are doing or not doing and what we need to do as teachers to address that problem. So yeah, let me scroll through. Let's see. Yeah, spice racks are great. I have the spice racks from IKEA in my Calm Down Center. So yeah, I have those there. Those are great. A lot of you probably have the front-facing bookshelf, and those are great too. I've sometimes had them in my classrooms and sometimes not, depending on where I was. But the front-facing bookshelves are great. And the only thing you need to know is that they can sometimes, depending on the ones you have, tip over. I've had kids climb those before. They see it as like a mini staircase. So I like to put those against the wall so they can't tip over, or against another shelf. And then I usually put like our books that we're currently learning, like our thematic books or whatever, on the front facing bookshelf. If I have one, sometimes I don't, just depends on the classroom or in the school I'm teaching at. And then my book baskets, I still have those. The book baskets are there all year long. The books that are in the baskets don't change. I might add to them if I buy new ones, and whenever I order from Scholastic and the order comes in, I always open it with the children, and I always have them help me classify the books. Okay, this is a book about Jack and Jill. I wonder what basket it's going to go in. It's going to go in this basket with the yellow sticker, so I need my yellow stickers, you know, and it's a great classification activity for the children, a great sorting activity, and it's a great motivator and reinforcer. And they also get to see, like, it's like Christmas. It's like getting a box of books is exciting, you know, and they love that. But my books in the tubs don't really change. Once I open the whole center and we stop using that one tub of books, I don't change the ones that are in the bins. So the bins I currently have, I have shapes and colors. I have an Eric Carle box because who wouldn't, right? Eric Carle is a staple in every early childhood classroom, so I have an entire tub of his books. I just collect them at garage sales and just different discount places. Whenever I see them, I grab them. So in my author bins, I usually have the letter E, and some of them have a picture of the author on them, but this is just E for Eric, and that's another great, letter recognition thing. And they have a little green sticker. So all of the Eric Carle books have that. I have a whole basket full of them, and they're really easy to find in board book format. A lot of times TJ Maxx and stores like that, they have these quite often. It's something that you get for baby showers and stuff. So I have Eric Carle, I have Shapes, Colors, I have Classics, and these are staples that you're going to want to, and it's up to you really how you want to do it. It just depends on what books you have, so I look at all the books I have, and then I figure out, okay, well, this is obviously a shape book, and this is obviously a color book, this is obviously a nursery rhyme, this is obviously an Eric Carle, but then I have some other bins, and I call them classics, like favorites, classroom favorites. And I have books like this. You could do book baskets with animals. You could do book baskets of nonfiction, however you want to do it. I also have transportation books here because there's just so many for preschool. I have 2 boxes of them. So I have one in my block center, and I have a box in my classroom library too. It's a hot topic. Animals, you could do animals. Oh, I have one of songs. So little songs and finger plays, so like 5 green and speckled frogs, they all have a pink sticker. And Scholastic sold these for a while. They had a series of these. So I have a whole bunch of those. Wheels on the Bus, 5 Little Monkeys. So things that are songs and finger plays, I have those too. And numbers. I have a book box of numbers as well, and letters. And then I also have book boxes of number and letter books in my math center and my literacy center as well. That frog book is really cool, Michelle. It's from Scholastic. They have them every now and again. I just collect books. I try to, do it on the cheap because they're going to be well loved. Eventually they'll have to be replaced. I don't want to have like the most top-notch books in my classroom library as far as the quality of the book. I want the content of the book to be high quality, but I don't need the actual physical book to be super high quality. My library book sales, your local library, if you're here in the States, will have probably a book sale of books every now and again, every year or so, and that's a great place to get books. I just got a bunch of new books, new to me books, they were used from a library. I showed one of my bins earlier, Joan. I have approximately 400 books, she says. Yes, I'm sure I have that many, if not more, on my shelf here. But it's all about teaching the kids the procedure. So it's a little bit of a time investment up front. Now my bin is going to be in the way here. Hold on. It's a little bit of a time investment up front, but it's a big payoff in the end, because you're getting... One of our jobs as early childhood teachers is to create motivation to read. And so when we're teaching kids how to care for books and how to handle books and how much we love, appreciate, and respect books, that's going to stick with them for the rest of their lives. And those attitudes are shaped at a very young age. And so I feel a civic duty to do that in my classroom, to teach children to love books, care and respect them, care for and respect them, and how to handle them. And it's not an innate skill that all children come to us knowing. So I feel it's my duty to do that. I just have a shelf with about 15 books. So everyone has to start somewhere, Michelle. And also, I know that some of you work in Eckers where they have very, very strict rules about how you can do things. And there's the whole thing about the front-facing bookcase, and that's great. I don't have any problems with the front-facing bookcase, but I really feel that we need to have lots of books available to kids, because there will be that one kid on the first day of school, not interested in books, but you just read No David, let's say, and that's the only book that child's ever heard before. That child goes to the bookshelf, the one front-facing bookshelf with one book for every child on it. That child goes to the bookshelf to get No David, and it's gone. He's going to bounce. he's like, I'm done. That's the only book I know, and it's not there, so I'm not going to do that. So I feel that I've seen that happen many times. It's the only book they've ever heard, right? I just read it to them. It's now their favorite. They're trying to do what I asked them, but that book's not there, and they don't know any other books. So we haven't got that far yet. It's only the first day of school, right? And that kid's going to bounce. So I just like to have a lot of books so that all children can be successful. Where did you find your David character? That came from, I think, from Scholastic many years ago. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. A lot of the stuffed characters come from Scholastic or from the Kohl's Cares for Kids program, where those are $5 each. Yeah. Let's see. Yeah, Olympia says when she had Eckers, they told her they had. Yeah, see, I'm not an Eckers fan. Sorry, Eckers. They have some rules that I feel are too restrictive and that stifle teacher creativity, and I don't believe in that. I showed you my book bins. Yes. Oh, and I also have behind me here. Oh, the reason I chose this center tonight was because I wanted to show you this. I don't know if any of you know Mrs. Wishy-Washy, but she has been one of my most favorite book characters for 25 years. And if you don't know Mrs. Wishy-Washy, try to get a used copy or something. But many years ago, I was at a teacher conference, and a representative, when the Right Group was distributing Joy Cowley's books, there was a sales rep at the conference who had a Mrs. Wishy-Washy doll in her booth. And I remember hanging around her booth. I actually got to know her. We became friends. We used to email. And I said to her, I said, if you ever leave or retire from being a sales rep for the Right Group, will you sell me that Mrs. Wishy-Washy? And she said, I don't think so. So it was always been on my bucket list for many, many, many years to get a Mrs. Wishy-Washy doll. Mrs. Wishy-Washy is a book written by Joy Cowley. She is a very famous author out of New Zealand. And it's just a very cool book that was originally designed to be like a Basil reader, but it's funny, it's cute, it's predictable text. The kids love it. It's so engaging. And this is her character here. A lot of teachers like to dress up as Mrs. Wishy-Washy for Halloween. It's one of those books, kind of like Brown Bear, that your kids can all recite, and makes them feel like successful readers. So I follow their Facebook page, and I saw that they were selling the dolls, and I was like, finally, my dream come true, because I collect characters like this. And so I ordered one, and it arrived last week. And so I was like, I want to do a broadcast about her, but she's not exciting enough, I don't think, to do a whole broadcast about. So I said, if I do the library center, I can show Mrs. Wishy-Washy. The only thing is I don't have like a hardcover, regular sized copy of the book to display with her. I only have the board book. So she's not on the shelf behind me, but she's really squishy and she's really cute. And I think the kids would love retelling the story with her. So she just arrived. It was an investment. She's not cheap. She's like $25. It's not the typical amount that I would spend on a stuffed character. But she is absolutely, it's like not getting the Pete the Cat stuffy. I mean, how could you not, right? I just love her. So she's my favorite. But it's a really funny story if you've never read it before. Try to find a used copy somewhere. I also have some pillows. I'm sitting on the floor right now. So I have some pillows here. You want some soft furniture if you can. You know, we all have different situations that we teach in. So like I said, my classroom is 13 by 13, so not very big. But if you have the luxury of having a really nice size classroom, having some comfy couches or chairs, flame retardant, then go ahead and do that. But I have some pillows here. I have 2 teal pillows. You can see this one here. It's not on the back. 2 teal pillows and the little happy face pillow, and they can get comfy over here. I bought this pocket chart behind me from the Target Dollar Spot last year, and it's, you know, you can have lots of things in your in your, whatever you want to call it, your classroom library or your book nook or whatever you call it. You can have lots of things in there, like your listening center. And I have this ABC pocket chart. And then over here we have this center sign. And so those center signs, they have a picture that you can take of your classroom library, and then you can insert the picture into the document, and then there's text underneath that explains for the adults what the children are learning in that center. Yes. Are there plush characters that go along with the Eric Carle books? Yes, there are. I have a giant plush Hungry Caterpillar. I got that from TJ Maxx or Home Goods. I'm looking around my room because I have them displayed. I have a Chicka Chicka Boom Boom tree. I have, that's not Eric Carle. Sorry. I have the brown bear. I have the polar bear. Yeah, they do make those. Absolutely. That's a good question. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to scroll back down. Woo. All right. My library has no chairs. That's okay. I mean, unless you have to follow a prescriptive program. I mean, you got to do what you got to do, right? So your class library doubles as your circle time area. Yeah. Mary Jane says that her Mrs. Wishy-Washy came today. Yay! Oh, Damon, did you see the Mrs. Wishy-Washy doll at Splash? I did not see that. Oh man, I missed that. I would have bought that in a heartbeat if I'd seen it. I've been waiting for like months for it to get here. I ordered the Mrs. Wishy-Washy doll from the Hamray, I think that's how you say it, Hamray website. Yeah, I follow their Facebook page, so it just popped up one day and I said, sold! So yeah, they have it on their website, Hameray, I think. That's the people who publish Mrs. Wishy-Washy now. So yeah, so you can get it there. I don't have a link to it. I want her with the book. The book is so hard to get here in the States. It's a problem. They need to fix that. It's like a treasure they're holding on to. I can only find it in Board Book. I have 2 big books that I bought of Mrs. Wishy-Washy because that's originally how it was designed. And then there's Mrs. Wishy-Washy's Christmas, I think. I have that's available here in the States. Everyone loves Mrs. Wishy-Washy. My son has the pigeon from Kohl's. It's his favorite toy ever. Yes. Kohl's Cares for Kids program, if you're not familiar with it, is a great program. The proceeds go to charity, and Kohl's will sell these stuffed characters that go with books. Every quarter or so, they'll have a different set. And so they recently had Pete the Cat. And you just go there and you spend $5 on the stuffy, and then, and you can display it with your books. So I'm just looking around my room. I have the If You Give a Mouse a Cookie, and then the ones behind me. And I have an Eric Carle set, Curious George. Those are from Kohl's too. Joan says, my favorite is I Ain't Gonna Paint No More. That's a great book. Kids love that book. Absolutely. So I just put those really high interest books in my classroom library. I'm just going through the comments. All right. There we go. Just found it online, says Judy, ordering now. Yeah, it just popped up on my Facebook feed because I follow their Facebook page, and I was like, whoa, that was a good one. You know, sometimes the stuff that pops up on Facebook, you're like, no. But that one was definitely a winner. Yeah. Yes. Pete the Cat is the best, says Millie. I agree. Yes. So in my favorites bin, I have books like that, just these classic books that, you know, that don't fit into like my Eric Carle bin or my, bins like that. Just classics that every year that the kids love that don't fit into any particular bin. It's up to you how you do it. You do you, boo. As far as is organizing your books by genre, but it's all about teaching kids how to handle and care for books. That's really what it is. It comes right down to it. So when people say, how do you keep your kids from tearing up books? Well, I don't really have to because I teach that procedure up front. and then they don't tear the books up. And I remind them when I start to see the books being messy, or if I see anything like that happening, we're going to review the rules, routines, and the procedures for looking at books. And I'm just going to continually model for them all year long how much I love and respect books, share those personal stories, about books from my childhood that I love. And yeah, I mean, kids know how much I love books, because during the holidays, whether that's a Christmas holiday or whether it's Valentine's Day or whatever, I'm always getting, I used to get books from kids, because their parents would say, what should we get Mrs. Levin for Valentine's Day or for Christmas? Books. They just knew right away. Books. They knew that was my favorite. It was just like I had pounded it into their little heads. Even by Christmas, they knew that. And, I had parents tell me, my child's never really asked for books as a gift before, but now all of a sudden they're asking for books. I'm like, yay, mission accomplished. Fun books. Absolutely. Work those in there. Even if your curriculum dictates certain books at certain times and you don't have any freedom at all, work it in there. Do a fun Friday where they get to pick the books for a day, or do it at the end of the day during your closing circle, or work it in there somewhere. Because if they are subjected to a really scripted, dry program that has really boring books, it's going to be really hard to develop that love for books and reading. And without that, they've got nothing. Doesn't matter how much phonological awareness they have and how many decoding skills. If they don't love books, that stuff's not going to help. So I really think our job is to help them love books. Never enough books, Cindy. I agree. I feel like if you can teach kids to love and respect and care for books, then I don't see why you should be limited on the number of books you have. And if it works for you, I really say go for it. All right, guys. I hope you got some ideas that you can take back and use in your classrooms. I really love the sticker system. It's worked for me for many, many years. And the kids can do it if you take the time to teach it up front. But like I said, I don't just let them go at the classroom library. We have one bin for the first week, and we practice with that. And some groups, some years are like, whew, they've got it down by the end of that first week, and we can open up the library center. And other times, other years, 2 weeks with that bin, practicing every single day until they get it, and then I can just open it up and watch them go. It's great. Cozy area and books is the best area. Absolutely. Somebody is caring for their great-granddaughter. Wow. Olympia, you can go back and watch the replay, but in the bottom corner it's kind of hard to see on this one because it's, here, let me get a different one with a different color. The bottom of each book has a sticker, and then the tubs have labels with the stickers as well. And you can find the book bin labels in my store. All right, I want to thank everyone for watching. I'm Vanessa Levin from Pre-K Pages, coming at you live here. We're live on the Facebook page every Monday and Wednesday, 7 Central, 8 Eastern. And I will catch you again next week. Have a great rest of your week. And if this is your first week of school, happy first week of school. And I will talk to you all again soon. Thanks for watching. Bye.